guys? Happy Thanksgiving. It is your favorite Java coder, PogoStick29 here. Welcome to episode number 55. In this episode, we are going to be learning how to modify spawners. And a little side note, we'll be learning about target blocks, like, getting a block that a player is looking at. So we're just going to make a simple plugin that has this spawner command, and when you run it, you pass it the name of the mob that you want to use, and then it will set the type of the spawner to that type of mob. So let's go ahead and go through this. I haven't actually ever tried specifically making this, so let's go ahead and see how it goes. And just to quickly let you guys know, as far as 1.7 in Bukkit, there was an update posted recently. I didn't read it, but it's not out yet. Should be out soon, so just stay patient and keep using 1.6 for now. So let's go ahead and get started. We have our just set up a basic plugin with a plugin.yml here, and our Java plugin class that has an onCommand method. It's only for players, and we're using the command spawner. Alright, so I forgot this one thing. Alright, so first off, if args is args.length is equal to 0, p.sendMessage check color.red plus you must specify the mob type, and then we'll go ahead and say return true. Then we're going to go ahead and say mob type. Mob type is a I believe, is that not right? What is it called? Maybe it's entity type. Here we go. org.bukkit.entity.entity type, and basically that just has all the different entities, all the mobs. So we're gonna go ahead and say try type equals entity type dot value of args 0 catch exception E p.sendMessage check color.red, and then we'll say that is not valid input. And basically what we're doing here is entity type is an enumerator or something of that sort, and basically we're trying to get the entity type by what they give. So if they type in spider, and I forgot we need 2 uppercase, if they type in like spider, then it should return the entity type of spider. But if they type something that's not an entity type, then it will throw an exception, and we need to catch it so that we can tell them that it didn't work, and then we can go ahead and return true. Now, if they don't specify anything, you might want to actually tell them all of the different things that they could specify, in which case, I think we did that in the previous video. You would just iterate using a for loop, go through all of the different entity types. I would check if the entity type is alive, so if it's a mob, and then if it is, then go ahead and print that out. Now, let's go ahead and say, we're going to go ahead and say, I think it's block B equals p.get target block. Now, it does say that this method is, what's it called? It is deprecated, which means it shouldn't be used for whatever reason, but I'm not completely sure why, and we'll just go ahead and use it. If I find a different way that you're supposed to do it, then we'll do it that way. Now, the target block method will take, let me take a look, get target block, it'll take a hash set of bytes and an integer. Now, the hash set of bytes, I believe, is a list of all of the blocks to ignore. So like if they're looking at a target block, but you want to ignore glass, then I think you would put that in the hash set. You would put the byte that represents glass in the hash, I believe. But we can just go ahead and make that null. Now the integer is the number of blocks, the distance. So you could write like 500, and whatever they're looking at 500 blocks away would be fine. If you did 1 block, they'd have to be staring directly at it, and even then I don't know if it would work. So let's just go ahead and say 10. So they need to be looking at it from 10 blocks, or this will not give you anything. And you can go ahead and do this suppress warnings deprecation right here. And that's not important. It's just telling the compiler to ignore. I know that it's deprecated, but I don't really care. Now, if b is equal to null, return true, or we should probably tell them a message. So p.send message, check color.red, and we'll say you aren't looking at a block, or yeah, at a block. Now we're going to say if exclamation point b dot get type dot equals material dot, and what are we doing here? Spawn, or maybe it's mob spawner. Then we're gonna go ahead and say p dot send message, check color dot red. That isn't a mob spawner. And then we'll go ahead and say return true. So now we know that the block is a mob spawner. Now this next part I'm not completely sure about. So we're gonna go ahead and try something. We're gonna say spawner s equals spawner b. And spawner did let's see, is spawner not a class? Maybe it has to be mob spawner. Alright, let's just try that. No. Alright, let me try one other thing. Could also be, could it be meta? No. Or it could be spawner meta. No. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and just quickly check on this. Hang on one second. Alright, so I figured out what the problem is. It is creature spawner, and I'll just call it S for spawner, equals, and class creature spawner to get state, because as you can see, creature spawner extends block state, so you need to cast it to the state, the same way we do with signs. Then you're going to go ahead and do s.set, and you're going to see a bunch of different things here, but what we want to do is set spawn type to type. And that should be all that you need to do. So let's just go ahead and send a message, p.send message, chat color.green, and we'll say that spawner is now for, and then we'll say type.toString.to lowercase, or like that. So, and it should say this spawner's not for pigs or witches or ghasts or whatever it would be. That all looks fine, so let's go ahead and export it. And this is now custom spawner. And now let's head on over to documents and YouTube, Bukkit coding, testing server, and let's go ahead and start up our server. Let's also go ahead and open up Minecraft. And alright, looks good over in our everything is looking good. So let's go ahead and start 1.6.4. Alright. And let's go ahead and join our localhost server. Okay. So first, let's just verify that the command works and it does all of the checks properly. So let's say I go ahead and do spawner. It will say you must specify the mob type, just like I said. And let's try slash spawner blah. It's not valid input. Now what's this? It just happened. Ah, that's tab API. Okay. So that is not valid input. Good. So, let's say that we want to do spawner, ghast. That isn't a mob spawner. So that is valid input, but it's not a mob spawner. So, let's go ahead and do spawner. I do have essentials on here, so I can do that. So let's find a nice place to put this mob spawner. So we'll put it right here, and as you can see, it is currently a pig spawner, but let's go ahead and change that to spawner cow. That spawner is now for cows. So as you can see, it does still look like there's a pig in there, but let's go ahead and see if it gives me a pig or a cow. So let's just go ahead and let that do its spawning stuff, and we'll see if it gives me a pig or a cow. Alright. Seems to be taking a while. And there you go. As you can see, I now have 2 nice cows. I'm not completely sure why it's still a pig in there. If anyone knows, maybe it has to do with like refreshing it or setting a certain data point or something, feel free to let me know. But otherwise, it does work. Let's just make it a chicken spawner. So the spawner is now for chickens, and there's our other chicken right there we already had. But if we let it run, then it will give us some nice chickens. And there we go, we have a few chickens now. Alright, so that is all for this episode. You guys learned how to manipulate spawners, so you can change the type of a spawner with a command, or, however. You also learned how to get the target block at, whatever distance you specify. So it'll just get whatever block the player's looking at, that is the number of blocks away that you specify. Now, if you wanted to make that an unlimited number of blocks, you would give it integer.maxValue, which is the largest number that an integer could possibly be. So what you would do is, instead of the 10, you would write integer.maxValue, and that's basically, it's just the largest value that an integer could possibly be. So that is all. As always, subscribe if you want to see more. Please comment what you want to learn. I have a small list, and I will go back to the last video and make sure I read all the comments, but I do always need more suggestions. We're far into this series, and I'm kind of running out of things to do. So also, if you guys have ideas for other series of whatever things that you want to learn, please let me know. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button. Please have a nice Thanksgiving, and I will see you guys at least one more time. I have a break. I'm off from school until Monday, so I will have plenty of time to make videos this weekend. So I'll see you guys soon. Bye.